For me, January ended up being a month of big worlds, big stakes, and one very unexpected winner. I finished one of the most legendary fantasy trilogies ever written, continued one of the strangest fantasy series I've ever experienced, got completely immersed in political maneuvering on another planet, and somehow classic character-driven sci-fi still stole the show. And this month really reminded me why I don't like locking myself into one genre. Fantasy gave me scale and emotion. Stephen King gave me chaos and weirdness, and sci-fi came in with grounded, character-focused storytelling that completely surprised me. 4 books with very different reading experiences. And a clear favorite I did not see coming at the start of the month. So let's get into it. What I really noticed this month is that I was way more invested in characters making difficult choices than in pure action. And even in the epic fantasy, it was the personal moments that stuck with me the most. First up, through the month I read The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this wraps up my 3-month journey through The Lord of the Rings. And this final book really feels like Tolkien doing 2 things at once. Delivering a massive payoff and gently letting the world go. The first half is huge in scope, battles, armies, and shifting tides of war, but what Tolkien does so well is making those moments feel grounded in individuals. Eowyn's confrontation, Merry stepping up, Aragorn finally claiming his role. These moments work because they feel earned over 3 books. And then there's Frodo and Sam. Their journey through Mordor is bleak and emotionally heavy. It's less about action and more about endurance. You really feel the weight of what they are carrying, physically and mentally. And what surprised me most on this read is how much space the ending takes, and how much I appreciated that. After the big climax, Tolkien doesn't just roll the credits. He shows the cost. He shows the emotional aftermath. And the Grey Havens especially hit hard. It's quiet and feels like saying goodbye not just to characters but to an era. And is this the tightest book structurally? Probably not, but emotionally this one lands the hardest. And it feels like a true ending in a way very few fantasy series manage. And next up I read The Drawing of the Three by Stephen King, the second book in the Dark Tower series. And this is where the Dark Tower really shows its wild side. If the Gunslinger felt like a strange, lonely fantasy western, this book kicks the door open and says, this series can be anything. We jump between worlds, times and perspectives. And the story becomes much more character focused. Roland is still fascinating, but this book is really about the people he pulls into his world. Each of them brings their own baggage and personality, and that makes the story feel bigger but also messier. And messy is kind of the key word here. Some sections are incredibly tense and gripping, others slow down a lot with internal monologues and detours that feel very Stephen King. Sometimes interesting and sometimes a bit indulgent. But when it works, it really works. The character dynamics that start forming here clearly set the foundation for the rest of the series. And by the final section I was fully locked in again and very curious about where this strange journey is heading. So while I didn't love it as much As the Gunslinger's atmosphere, I can see the scope expanding. It feels like the series is shifting from mysterious to a long form epic. Just a very weird one. And next up, I read Shards of Honor by Lewis McMaster Biold, the first book in the Vorkosigan saga. And this was the book that completely caught me off guard. I expected solid, maybe slightly dated military sci-fi, and what I got was a fast, character-driven story about culture class, survival, politics, and an unexpectedly mature romance. Cordelia is such a strong lead. She's competent, thoughtful, and constantly navigating unfamiliar and dangerous situations without ever feeling overpowered or naive. And watching her adapt to a completely different culture is one of the most interesting parts of the book. And then there's Arrow. Their relationship develops under pressure, built on conversation and conflicting loyalties rather than dramatic misunderstandings. It feels grounded and believable, which made the emotional parts hit harder. And I also loved that the story stays personal. There's a large war happening, but the focus is on individuals caught inside, trying to do the right thing in messy circumstances. That smaller lens made everything feel more intimate. And by the end, I wasn't just satisfied, I was invested. I want to see where these characters go next, and for the first entry in a long series, that's the best possible outcome. And last but not least, I read Daughter of the Empire by Raymond E. Feist and Jenny Wirtz, the first book in the Empire trilogy, which is part of the larger Rift War cycle. This book is all about power, but not in the usual fantasy way. There's no chosen one, no prophecy. Instead, we follow Mara as she's forced into a political role she never expected in a society where tradition, honor, and family alliances control everything. And what makes this story so compelling is that every move matters. Mara can't just win with strength, she has to win with patience, intelligence, and long term planning. And watching her slowly learn how to survive and then to start shape events is incredibly satisfying. And the world building is also a huge strength. Calloway feels structured and real, with social rules that actually affect the plot. It's not just background detail, it drives the story. It's a slower, more deliberate read than the others this month, but it's deeply immersive. This is the kind of book where you finish a chapter and immediately want to know how the next political move will play out. Alright, time to put them in order. At the fourth place, I would put The Drawing of the Three. It has strong character work and big ideas, but uneven pacing made it the least consistent read of the month for me. At number 3, I would put Daughter of the Empire. It's deeply immersive and politically fascinating, but its slower pace put it just below my top 2 in terms of pure reading momentum. At number 2, I put The Return of the King, an emotional, epic, and incredibly satisfying finale to a legendary trilogy. A huge payoff after a long journey. And that makes my favorite of the month, Shards of Honor, my biggest surprise and the book I enjoyed the most from start to finish. Character driven, emotionally grounded, and instantly made me want to continue the series. So Sci-Fi came really out of nowhere and stole January. And this month reminded me how much I enjoy character-focused stories inside big worlds. Not just spectacle, but decisions, relationships and consequences. And it also sets up a bunch of continuations. More Dark Tower, more for Kosuken, and also probably more in the Empire trilogy. So January didn't just give me good books, it created future reading plans. So let me know your favorite book of January, and if you've read any of these, especially Swords of Honor, because I did not expect that one to top the month. And if you want to see what I'm picking up next, my February TBR video is already up. So I'll see you in the next video.